So welcome. We are really glad to have you with us this morning, and we're grateful to have some folks joining us online. We wanted to just let you know if you need washrooms, the simplest way is to go through that door, and we're pretty casual around here, so if you need to stand up and stretch or whatever, nobody will be upset. Just make yourself at home. And for the folks on Zoom, Lisa's going to be monitoring. We ask you to mute yourself, but if you have a question, put it in chat or put your hand up, and she can connect you with Julie when you have a question. We usually like to start with acknowledgement of territory. So if you're comfortable, I invite you to join with me. The Creator, overflowing with love, breathed all of creation into being. We acknowledge that the land on which we live, work, and worship today is the land traditionally cared for by the Anishinaabe, Arawangara, Haudenosaunee, and Métis peoples. We acknowledge the enduring presence and deep traditional knowledge, laws, and philosophies of the Indigenous people with whom we share this land today.
We long for reconciliation with our Indigenous siblings, so that they can care for creation.
I maybe should have introduced myself. I'm Heather Leffler. I'm the minister here at Rockwood and Stone United Churches, and now I'm going to turn you over to Tammy Smith. Who's going to introduce us.
I'm happy to have Julie Martin Jansen here today with us from Hospice Wellington. Julie has been married for 30 years with 3 children and 2 grandchildren.
One on the way.
She grew up in the Simcoe area, spending part of her childhood on an affluent chair church. After college, she ended up in Elmira, where she still is today. She worked for community living for 29 years, 20 of which she was a residential manager. In 2005, Community Living built a home specifically to support vulnerable adults at end of life. She was the lead at creating and implementing their palliative program, working with the person, their families, the staff, and the community. She joined Hospice Wellington in June of 2021 as their new rural outreach coordinator, working to bring supports and services to the rural areas of Wellington County. She continued focusing on helping people at their end-of-life journey, along with their caregivers, family members, and friends. In 2024, her outreach extended to the city of Guelph, where she's creating new networks and connections to further bringing supports and services to the community of Guelph. Julie is an excellent resource, and we are delighted to have her here today to educate us on how to recognize and prevent fatigue.
Starting then. So thank you very much for having me here today. I'm very honored to come and talk about this. One of my passions is supporting caregivers and making sure that you're taking care of yourself. So normally with a bigger group or a smaller group, depending on the group, we can do some interactive stuff. I know we have some people online too, so if there are questions, we do have quite a bit to cover, and I've brought some little samples of stuff so that we can have a good conversation after. But definitely, if there's questions, please feel free to ask. While we're going, I'm okay to, if you stick up your hand or interrupt me, that's okay too, because sometimes if you don't ask, when you got it in your head, you're going to forget it. Or that's maybe just me. So again, thank you for having me here again today. And I just want to talk a little bit about what it means to be a caregiver. So it can be one of those most rewarding times in your life to care for somebody that you love. But it can also be the most physically challenging and emotionally taxing on you as a caregiver, especially if you're trying to balance your work life, home life, your family, and then caring for someone else, either in your home or supporting them somewhere else, either in long-term care or outside of your home. So there are 1 in 4 people in this room that are probably a caregiver. 50% of Canadians will become caregivers at some point in their life. Or you're going to need a caregiver yourself. You can become a caregiver with little or no warning. Maybe somebody's had a fall or they've been in an accident and now they're needing more support, or they're needing support at home. Or they have been given a diagnosis, so now they're going to need supports at home. You're going to need to look at their whole plan of care. And part of that plan of care might include you being a caregiver. Every caregiver experience is different, so we all have different experiences when we're caregiving, depending on who we're caregiving for. Responsibilities can vary from day to day, sometimes from minute to minute, especially when their needs start changing. You have to change with them. So we're going to look at, I guess I need to click this, right? I'm in charge of clicking. Oops, I'm going backwards. There we go. Okay. So then, being a caregiver, like I said, you may run into some obstacles because, again, it is physically and emotionally challenging. So I'd like to take a minute to kind of go through some of those obstacles or challenges that you may run into. Time management is one of the biggest ones, especially if you still are very active in your own life and doing things out in the community, maybe still working, having a family. Sometimes our family, through COVID, we've had a lot of our family members move back home with us because they couldn't afford to be where they were. So time management might be quite a bit of an obstacle for some people, getting to balance all that and put up boundaries. Lack of privacy is another one. And that is when the person you're caring for, if they're in your home, having all those resources come in, and maybe nurses are coming in, or PSWs are coming in, doctors are coming in, depending on what your care needs are, you may have a variety of different people. And the biggest thing I hear out there is, yeah, somebody's coming today, I'm not sure who it is, or, so it's a very hard thing, that managing that time, but then having that lack of privacy in your own home, or that you're going to somebody else's home and you don't have privacy there to help support that person. Isolation is another one. We talked a little bit about isolation when I came, that sometimes people are home in their own homes on their own, and they feel very isolated, and they may not know where to get those supports from. So as a caregiver, you may feel isolated as well, going in and supporting the person and not having support yourself and not knowing where to start. So you just, and how many caregivers have said this? Oh no, it's okay, I'll just do it myself. Oh, I'm too busy, I can't go to that. So they start isolating and withdrawing from their social life or the things that they used to do and enjoy. You may have strains in relationships. So again, if you're caring for someone in your home, the relationships in your home, you may start seeing strains there because your time is being used up to care for somebody, to also try and care for yourself and to care for your family. So or strains in relationship with your friends and your family outside of your home because you stop going out with them, you stop answering their calls. So they just stop calling them. So you may start to see some of those. Conflicts about care. I don't know if anybody has siblings in this room, but you know, that may be a big thing with conflicts about care. What you might think is good for the person you're supporting, your sibling may not think that is, and you may have those kind of butting heads. My husband has a family of 7, and when their father became ill and was in the hospital and they had to make some of those critical decisions for him, there was a lot of butting heads on that. And then a lot of, after he passed, a lot of butting heads still on that. Financial issues could be a problem, it could become a challenge, especially if you're trying to manage the person's finances along with your own. You have more responsibilities, and as the needs of the person changes, you may have those responsibilities with now you're taking them to a lot of appointments, or you're at the home a lot more, or you're organizing all the people that are coming in to support the person in their home. There's where you guys are out in rural, so what I find out here is sometimes there's a shortage of having that outside support come in. So sometimes you're looking for that extra support where you may have to pay for extra private support because you can't get as much hours from the PSWs, or there's not enough PSWs out in the area to come every day like you could use. Sometimes you're providing care for more than one person. So it could be somebody that you're supporting in your home, but maybe you're supporting your neighbor too, because she doesn't have family. So you've taken it on that you're going to help support her or him as well. Coordinating services, sometimes that's, again, the big thing I hear is I have no idea who I'm supposed to call or where do I start, or I didn't know that there was support out there for that. We hear that a lot at hospice about, oh wow, I didn't know hospice came out into the community. I didn't know hospice did that. We just thought you would attend at residence. So we do hear a lot that people don't realize the supports that hospice can offer. So if they don't know what we can offer, we've been in the community for 43 years, 45 years, and offering community supports, and people still don't know that. And I was very surprised before Christmas, I went around to all the doctor's offices and they like, here's what we do, here's our supports. And 80% of the doctor's office said, I didn't know you guys did that. So surprising even now that people don't know what supports are out there. So find that person who's going to help you with those resources and, you know, latch onto them and go, hey, do you know a guy who knows a guy? Or whatever it is that where you can find those supports. Start asking questions. Your family is spread out far, so maybe you don't have the support. Like for myself, when my parents became ill, I was the closest one. My brother lived in BC, my other brother lived a couple hours away, so it was on me to be the one that cared for my parents. They did support them, which I was lucky enough to have brothers who were providing emotional support for both of us, both of our parents and myself, but people don't always have that. And sometimes there's that conflict or strain in relationships because you feel like, wow, I'm doing everything and my family's not helping me. Start asking and let them know how they can help you. And family sizes are now smaller. Maybe you don't have any siblings. And I hear that a lot as well, that, well, I don't have anybody else, I'm it, I'm the only child. So you run into some of those. It does, these obstacles and challenges do take a toll on your physical and mental and your emotional well-being. Anxiety can be high if you don't take care of yourself. Loneliness really sets in sometimes when you feel like you're all alone, but you're not. So I'm here today to tell you you aren't alone and how to help, you know, some self-care for yourself. A lot of times too, caregivers will become sicker than the person they're caring for because you forget to take care of yourself. And that's a really high statistic lately, that caregivers are now becoming quite a bit more ill than the person they're caring for. So you do really need to listen to your body and listen to what signs and symptoms you're seeing in yourself so that you can take care of yourself. Educating yourself and identifying and recognizing what's going on with yourself and doing that little check-in every time with yourself. How am I doing today? And just going, okay, I think I'm okay. I don't have a headache, I'm good, I'm a little tired, but I'm okay today. I've got some supports. So looking at what you have there and recognizing that, you know, the healthcare system now is recognizing that caregivers have a huge role and that they're very overwhelmed, and they are starting to put in more things in place for caregivers, which is wonderful. And even recognizing at the hospitals, and we do at hospice, but recognizing that, okay, you're the caregiver, we're going to take care of you too. So they do have things now, they're working on a project to identify the caregivers in long-term care, in the hospitals, so that they can help support you as well. So thinking about all those obstacles, you may start having that, what we call caregiver fatigue or burnout, which is not a really nice word, and you really don't want to feel that way. But looking at the ABCs of what we want to recognize, so A is awareness. So we want to provide awareness of yourself. So awareness of those signs and recognizing any symptoms that you may be having. And it doesn't always come all at once. So you may miss that you are starting to have this caregiver fatigue. So the balance we'll talk about too, and that's when you talk about your self-care. And then the connection we'll talk about too, about how do you make connections so that you are supported. So the first step again is understanding what is happening to you, knowing what those warning signs are, developing that early intervention plan. So again, what is your body telling you? So taking that minute to just slow down and go, okay, how am I feeling? How am I doing today? I'm going to do my check-in every day. And then when you get those signs, don't ignore them. Do something, slow down. So we're going to talk a bit about that too. So identifying some of those triggers. What are those triggers that trigger that stress for you? And how do you recognize that? So if you feel yourself getting a little emotional or angry, or you feel like you're just not yourself, take a minute to try to identify why. Why am I feeling this way? Process it and then go, okay, I need to figure out how to move past this or how to work through this. And then we'll try and talk a little bit about that too. So again, with the awareness, we want to look at what burnout is. So burnout is a state of physical, emotional, and mental exhaustion. And you don't need to be a caregiver to feel burnt out. It could be in your job, it could be just your busy life, that you're, my dad always said he was busier being retired than he ever was when he was working, and everybody asked him to do stuff. So he had projects on the go all the time, and he was getting burnt out because he never had a moment to himself. So recognizing those signs, not just as a caregiver, but as human beings, what does that look like in me? So it may be accompanied by a change. So you could be a very positive person, and then all of a sudden you find yourself being very negative and very unconcerned about stuff, like I don't care, whatever, move on, So you do see that. It's important to recognize that caregiver burnout and cope with it in a very healthy way. So we're going to try to talk about that, because that looks different for everybody. I am going to give you a ton of stuff, but it doesn't mean that that's all what's going to work for you. You have to find what works for you. So understanding those signs and symptoms and learning about different ways to cope with them can help make your caregiving experience more enjoyable. So it can, and I am telling you that. Like I've been a caregiver, I've been a paid caregiver for many years, but also a caregiver to both my parents. It can be enjoyable and fulfilling. It's also important to know that the negative impacts you are feeling, so when you start having that burnout or that emotional stress, that can impact the person you're caring for, because they may feel that as well. So you may not just feel burnt out, they may be feeling the impacts of that. So being mindful of that and taking care to recognize that. So we'll go through some warning signs. So some of the things, anger and irritability are two of the biggest or key warning signs of caregiver stress or caregiver fatigue or burnout. We'll use all those words. Feeling overwhelmed and exhausted and drained. Not wanting to be around your loved ones, so avoiding things, so choosing to stay at work longer, or if you go out, you're like, I don't want to go back. Starting to feel like that, and then feeling guilty, because with a caregiver you get the guilt all the time. Every time you feel something that you think is a negative thought, then you feel guilty for thinking that, but it's okay. So you're not enjoying your social activities or times with friends anymore, so you start isolating yourself. You find it a chore to leave the house, so it's a big effort to get out, and you start saying no to a lot of the things that you used to do. So if you had card night or bingo night, or you used to have social time with your friends, or you did coffee hour, now you're starting to not go as much as you used to. You're more irritable, and you have mood swings, so that decrease in patience and tolerance when you used to have lots of patience and tolerance. You find it difficult to concentrate or to get things done. I think that's what we do when we multitask. You start a project, then you go to the next room and start something else, and then you forget what you were doing. Well, when it becomes a huge issue, and that's happening a lot, that's normal, I think, but when it starts happening a lot and you're having those moods and you're feeling very emotional and overwhelmed by different tasks and not being able to finish something or even sit and concentrate on, when you read a book and you've read the page 5 times, You know, it's because you can't concentrate. So looking at that, having trouble sleeping, well, I think that comes with life, but it becomes harder, especially when you're a caregiver, because when you lay down, you start going, oh geez, did I turn off the CPAP machine, or did I clean out this? Oh, I forgot to put the laundry on. Oh, I'll just get up and go put the laundry on. So you start having all those thoughts when you go to bed, and you need to find things to help yourself to relax so that you do get a good sleep. Your weight may be affected, so you're eating more or you're eating less because you're so busy. You feel anxious and sometimes depressed, and you will get depression if you don't look at taking care of yourself, because it is hard. It is hard to watch somebody being ill, but it's also difficult to manage all the tasks and the duties that you have to do as caregivers. And sometimes you may have those angry outbursts that we talked about too. And then you may start to see physical signs in yourself. So physical health. So you're getting headaches all the time, you feel achy, that you just don't feel good. So that feeling of not being hungry, or you eat, you feel sick. So those are all warning signs that, hey, look, you're getting stressed out, or you're having something going on. Where I worked before, we always said rule out medical. So if you start having physical signs, rule out medical. Go see the doctor, make sure you're okay, get blood work done, just get a good baseline of what's normal for you. It's important to recognize those signs, because caregivers are always living in that place of go, 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 go. And we feel we have to do this alone, and you don't. There's lots of people out there that can support you. You just have to find those people that are going to work for you, and it could just be little things. These, like I said at the beginning, these signs happen slowly, so you may not recognize it at first. And not just for caregivers, this is for everybody. So if you have a friend who you know is a caregiver, or you know a family member who's caring for their loved one, look for those signs in them so you can help support them, and reach out to them and say, you know, I've noticed that you've seemed a little off lately. How can I help? What can I do to support you? I know that you're really busy with caring for, you know, your loved one or your family member. So how can I help? And guess what the caregiver is going to say? Oh, it's okay. I don't need any help. So don't take that. Don't take no. Say, you know what? How about I bring you a meal? How about I do this? So we're going to talk a little bit about kind of making a wish list and how we can help give people the ideas of what they can do to help support us. So when you talk about watching for symptoms, I've sort of broken it down into physical, emotional, and behavioral. So again, we talked a lot about these: fatigue, headaches, sadness, difficulty concentrating, and then, you know, risk taking. So the behavior ones are the ones that we want to be very cautious of. Some people may start to drink a little bit more, or some people may use substance abuse to cope with what they're going through. So we need to be very mindful and watch for that. And again, 1 in 4 caregivers say it's difficult to take care of their own health because they're so busy caring for somebody else. So what do you think causes all of this? It's just a busy life, but not asking for help is one of the biggest ones, because we seldom take a break for ourselves as caregivers. So ask for help. If somebody offers, they truly want to help you, let them. So having really high expectations of yourself, like, oh, I should be able to do this. Like, they you know, it's my parents, or it's my friend. Like, she's been so helpful to me. I should be able to do this. So you have too many high expectations of yourself. It's okay to lower your guard and let somebody in to help you, or to say, hey, I need help. That's okay. You have difficulty saying no. So they always say, oh, look at that person there. She's working, she's got a family, she's caring for her family member. I'm going to ask them to pick up, you know, when they're at the grocery store, I'm going to get them to pick me up something. Because they're busy. So if you want something done, you ask a busy person, right? But that busy person is busy, and they probably need you to go help them. But busy people always say, oh yeah, sure, yeah, I'll be at the grocery store anyways, I'll just grab it for you. So as caregivers, we need to start saying, you know what, I'm really swamped. Actually, could you pick me up some milk? So it's okay to say that. and that's one of the hardest things caregivers have, because they don't want to ask for help and they don't want to say or admit that they do want help. You constantly put everybody else's needs first. And I mean, anybody who's a parent here, we do that all the time, but as a caregiver, you're putting their needs, your family's needs, your friends, your community, everybody else comes first before you, and you forget to take care of yourself. People work really hard to make everything ideal for the person they're caring for. They want everything to be perfect. They want them to have a good quality life while they're ill. And sometimes they forget that they still need to take care of themselves. Ignoring their own health concerns, I think I can't stress that enough, because this will be a big area. If you don't take care of your own health, this may become a concern down the road when you maybe are needing support more than the person you were supporting. So be cautious of that. And feeling as if you're the only person that's capable of taking care or providing that care. I was one of those people. I was like, my brothers are, not helpful, so it's all on me. I have to do it. My brothers don't do anything. And I asked them to come and take out the garbage, and he phoned the neighbor to do it. And I'm like, what? So thinking that, okay, well, forget it. I'm not asking anybody because nobody's helpful. I'm just going to do it myself. Well, there are people out there that will help, and you have to let go of that, and you have to let them. Can you tell I just read the book, Let Them? I'm saying that a lot. And caregivers are having a lot more responsibilities now. Like, people are becoming sicker and quicker. And so the caregiving responsibilities are changing drastically. So you may get a diagnosis or have surgery, but then the surgery, maybe the healing process isn't as quick as you thought. Or maybe the trajectory of your illness has gone quicker than you think. So you're constantly changing what you have to do as a caregiver, and your needs change. And there's there is supports, but where do you get them? And sometimes when it's a crisis and you're scrambling, this is very overwhelming as well. So learning about what's out there now is really important, so that when you are in that situation, that you can get that support for yourself. We talked about difficulty coordinating care, and sometimes you're providing care for more than one person. So those are all other obstacles and other causes of why we get that caregiver fatigue or that burnout. So watching for those signs, looking at, really reflecting on, how am I doing today? And going, yeah, I'm not great. I've got a headache, and what's on my agenda today? What am I doing? Where am I going? Oh, geez, that's a lot. Okay, I'm going to process this. I'm going to reflect on it, and I'm going to figure out, what do I need to do in this moment right now, so that I'm going to be able to provide that good quality care, so that I'm going to be able to feel less stressed for myself. So then we get into the balance part of self-care. And self-care is so important, and there's so many resources out there that sometimes, again, it is so unique to you as a caregiver, to you as a person, of what is out there, and that each person can find like 10 different things, but one works for you, one different thing works for you. So it's not always the same. And you get people that say, oh my gosh, I tried this really great meditation, you should do this. Well, maybe meditation isn't my thing. And so that might not be something that helps relax me. Like, unless somebody's telling me and holding me down and telling me to calm, like be calm, I don't know that I can do that, because my brain doesn't work that way. So listening to calming music at night to help me sleep, whatever is going to work for you, those are the things you try. But try different things, because there is something out there that's going to work for you. So balancing yourself with, if you are feeling stressed, with self-care, taking that time for yourself, and making sure that self-care is anything that brings you a sense of peace, of comfort, of connection, motivation, and or fulfillment, even if it's just for a few minutes a day. So I challenged my caregiver group the one year that we were doing the Joyful Caregiver, and I challenged them with making out a calendar of all the things they had to do in one day, and all the things they had to do for their loved one or the person they were caring for in one day. And then finding time in that day to carve out space for themselves. That was probably one of the hardest things they had to do. And a lot of them were like, I don't have an hour. And I said, it doesn't have to be an hour. It can be 5 minutes in the morning. Get up before you have to get up your person and have coffee and just sit and reflect. It could be that they're having a nap this afternoon and you're like, whew, I'm gonna go lay down. Or, oh, I'm gonna watch my soap opera. What are your non-negotiables? What are those things that you're not gonna give up? So I had another caregiver who, the young and restless was very important to her. So every day at 4:30, didn't matter what was happening in her home, she sat down and put on Young and Restless. That was her non-negotiable. And everybody knew that. So they worked around that, which was great. Even her husband, who she was caring for, knew, yep, I know it's 4:30, I'm gonna go lay down. So what are those things that you can tell your family? Nope, don't come here between 2 and 4, I'm having my own time. Letting people know that is okay.
Recording in progress.
Self-care strategies are very personal and unique to you. They need to include and acknowledge how you feel. And it includes identifying what comfort will meet your needs, and then integrate them or any activity that creates a sense of well-being for yourself. So being realistic that you can't, about what you can and what you can't do. So don't say, okay, yeah, every day at 2 o'clock I'm gonna walk 10 miles and then do this. Like, maybe that's not realistic in your situation, but it might be. So knowing what you can and can do. I can walk 2 kilometers, but maybe not 10. So setting those goals for yourself are things that you can achieve and meet. Oh, they're not working here.
Oh, sorry.
Oh.
Question in the chat.
Oh, there you go. So how do you create that space for yourself? I don't even know what time it is, so I'm sorry, I'm trying to do my, okay. How do you create that space for yourself? So it is important to protect and preserve your privacy. So not only your mental privacy, but your physical privacy. So that mental privacy relates to that balance between caregiving and all those other activities and all those other needs in your life that you have to do. And the physical privacy is basically relating to your personal space. What do you need to create that personal space or those boundaries for yourself? So some of the tips, and I put Ontario Caregiver Organization on here and the resource or the link to that, because they have what's called the 90-second caregiver. So anybody can go on and apply for their newsletter. It's free. All of their supports are free. And they have some really great tips. So this was one of their tips, was about creating that private space for yourself. So if you are caring for someone in your own home, and you have people coming in to support that person, so you've got nurses and PSWs and doctors and everybody else, find out a space in your home that's just for you. That you can create that one little space that nobody comes in that room, that's just your private time, that your private space where you can sit and ground yourself or unwind or just breathe. And taking that few minutes every day to go in that space. I was going to say, is that me? Lisa. Scheduling private time. And that's another thing too, so we just talked about that. Like, look at what are your non-negotiables and make something that you can schedule time for. And again, one of the biggest things I hear about caregivers is, oh, I don't have time. Well, I don't have time for that. 5 minutes, that's all it takes, 5 minutes. The hardest thing I ever had to do when I was caregiving was my very good friend told me I needed to spend some time with myself and to go to my favorite coffee shop, grab a book or a magazine and sit there for 20 minutes. I couldn't do it. 20 minutes is a long time. But I had to keep persevering to try to make space for myself. But yeah, that was really hard because you've got so much stuff and you're like, sitting here doing nothing. And I'm like flipping through the book, and I'm like, okay, my coffee's done. I'm like, oh no, it's 5 minutes. I need to get for 15 more. Like, what do we do? So really hard, but keep trying to do it. Did Did we go back or did I just do that? Lisa, what are you doing?
As soon as I have to touch the computer, I have to put it back for you to be able to get back on. It's not a great system.
So establishing a routine too, sometimes that's a great thing. One of the ladies I worked with, she started getting up before her husband so that she could have her coffee in peace and read an affirmation or read a scripture, whatever she wanted that would give her a way to start her day off with calm. And making labels, that sounds really funny, like making labels, like label everything in your house, but making labels so people understand that they need to respect your private space. So that just means like, I might put a sign on my door that please respect my privacy. We have that at hospice on our doors at work. So if we're doing something where we're calling or we're having a conversation with someone, we'll quietly close our door and put our sign that says, please respect our quiet time or our private space. So even doing that, that just gives the person or people in your home, especially if you have a lot of people coming in, that reminder that this is your space. And that's okay to do too. So what are the things that work? And we're going to go through. I've got lots of little goodies here too. But if you want to take care of others, then you need to start taking care of yourself first. And I can't stress that enough. So making that wish list. So I talked a little bit before about if somebody says, what can I do? How can I help you? And what caregivers say is, oh, I don't know. You're overwhelmed, you've got so much on your plate, and then somebody asks, well, how can I help you? You're gonna go, I don't know. So maybe offer something tangible and say, you know what, I wanna help you. How about I come over and make a meal? How about I come over and, I know you love your gardens, how about I come over this spring and weed your gardens for you, or edge them, or do whatever. So making that wish list is really, I think sometimes people have a hard time. So if I said, today, everybody in this room, I'm going to give you a gift, and I'm going to take one thing off your plate. What is that? What would that be? What does that look like for you? What is that thing that causes you a little bit of stress because you're worried about it? And it might just be one thing. It might be the gardens. It might be, oh, I've got 10 appointments on Wednesday, and then I got to get home and make supper for everybody, and I'm going to do that. Hey, you know what? My girlfriend just asked what she could do to help me. I'm going to call her and see if she'll make a meal. But if you have your wish list done up ahead of time, write those things down. Stick it on your fridge. Email it to your family. Go, hey, I have a wish list. Can anybody help me with this? You will have all those things done. Guaranteed you, your family will go, oh, I didn't know you needed help. I can come and do that for you. Oh, my son will come and cut your grass this summer. He's looking for something to do. He needs hours for his community services or whatever it is for school. So looking at those things that you could take off your plate. I have a sheet down here that's called What's on Your Plate. So it's a good tool to use to write down all those things that you have in any given day. And go, wow, what could I get somebody to help me with on here? What could I delegate? What is it that if I got this lifted off my plate would make it so much easier for me? So it's a good little tool to use to look at that and recognize it in yourself. And then when people ask, you can say, oh, think about your wish list in your head and go, oh, you know what? Like, you could help with this. Thank you so much. Because if they're asking, again, they really do want to help you. So let them. So looking at these lists of prioritizing care for yourself, eating good food, yeah, we all say that, exercise, yeah, that's what the doctor tells you all the time too. And we try that our best. Like, we try to eat healthy, we try to, take care of ourselves that way. But it doesn't mean you have to go join a gym. It just means get out for a walk after supper. Even if it's just around the block, do something that gets you fresh air. Nature is one of the best things to help ground yourself and to get those good breaths out there. Just go outside and take a nice deep breath and just enjoy. So there's a lot of different things that you can do and what works. So recharging your batteries, we talk about that too, but what does that look like for you? How do you recharge your batteries? Does that mean going golfing? My boys are out golfing today. That's how they recharge their batteries. It gives them joy. So they're out there doing that. Mine might be going to a spa or getting a facial or having somebody pamper me for 5 minutes. But looking at that, and blocking time off for yourself. So even, I say take a holiday and everybody laughs. And I go, it doesn't need to be a week or 2 weeks. It could be book a hotel, where are we? Go into, does Rockford have a little bed and breakfast hotel? Go into Guelph then, or Erin or somewhere close by. That, you know, one time I thought, oh, I just need to get away. My kids still live in my house. And so we booked a hotel in St. Jacobs. And then we got up and went to the market. And that was just enough to recharge my batteries. So it was a good little thing. One little overnight stay, somewhere close. You don't have to make it a big deal, but it is a little bit of a holiday for you. So try to look at what you could do there. So practicing gratitude is another wonderful thing to do. And gratitude has so many different benefits if you practice gratitude. It actually is proven to reduce stress. It helps you focus on what you have done and what you are doing. And even if it's a really hard day and you're feeling very emotionally and physically exhausted, you could still look at what was good about today. What brought me joy today? What am I grateful for? So it could be little things like, well, it didn't snow. So we had one of the caregivers too, after we talked about practicing gratitude, she was like, yeah, I was driving here for our group and I thought, like, oh, it's so nice out. It's not, it's sunny, it's all the positive stuff about today. And then she goes, the little person on my shoulder goes, yeah, but it's probably gonna not last long and it's gonna snow. But you know what? But right now, it's sunny. And right now, you can enjoy it. So yeah, there is that little person that creeps in there to tell you all the bad stuff about, yeah, it's good, but right now. So looking at the right now. It can help you build resiliency and avoid burnout. So being grateful and looking at for the positive things in your life that bring up those positive emotions are really good. And it can boost your sense of hope. Oh, there you go. So strategies for self-care. So again, I talked about going to see your doctor. Rule out anything medical. Or even right now, if you're healthy, go get a baseline of your blood pressure, of your blood work. How are you doing right now when you're healthy? So your doctor can say, okay, so then you know, right now I'm great, I feel good. So if you start seeing different signs in your health, then you know, okay, maybe there is something wrong, maybe I'm stressed, maybe I'm doing too much. So how do I help myself with that? So getting that full checkup is, yeah, I don't know about you, but doctors, I know you guys have had a couple new doctors in the area, so that's kind of nice. My doctor is a 2-month out appointment, so if I wanted to go see him, I'd have to make it for 2 months from now, but that's okay. Make that appointment. Engage in activities that make you feel healthier and vibrant. Sometimes aromatherapy, people really find that scents help them calm. So lavender is one for me, lavender and vanilla, I love that. So there's Dr. Teal has a really great bubble bath, that's lavender and vanilla. And when I need to unwind and relax, I'll go have a nice bubble bath. And then I can't get out of the tub because my knee needs a knee replacement, so that's okay. In the moment, I'm enjoying it. So there are some samples here on the table that I got. The dollar store has some really awesome guided books. There's a reflections and mindfulness book that you can journal. There's a gratitude one. There's another one on just mindfulness. And they are kind of guided. There's magazines on mindfulness that you can get. Subscribe to them. There is one for caregivers that helps with your self-care, so you can go in if people like to journal. That's another way to help with your stress is journaling. And just breathe. Just breathing is one of the other ways. So I do have a video here, and I don't know if it's going to work, but
I think I did one more. Welcome to the tappingsolution.com. This is Jessica Ortner, and welcome to our How to Tap area. Here we'll provide all the information to help you get started right away to use this incredible stress relief technique that will really benefit your mind and your body. Now in this video, I'm going to show you where the tapping points are so you can get a visual. The first point is the side of the hand, and it's the karate chop point. So tap on that fleshy part. The next point is the eyebrow point, and it doesn't matter which side of the body you tap on. Just pick a side and tap where the beginning of your eyebrow begins, right on that hair. I hope you're tapping along with me. You're gonna follow that bone until you're on the side of the eye, staying on that bone. Then underneath the eye, again, staying on that bone. Underneath the nose. The chin point, which is actually the crease between your lip and your chin. Your collarbone point. I like to just take my whole hand and tap where a man's bow tie would lie, and you'll stimulate the point. Then underneath the arm, about a hand width from your armpit. Then you end with the top of the head. Those are the 9 points in this tapping algorithm, and that is 1 round. So what you do is you begin by saying the setup statement. The setup statement is, even though I have this problem, so even though I have this anxiety, even though I have this headache, I love and accept myself, or simply, I accept myself. A lot of people feel resistant to this. They say, why would I ever say I accept something that I want to get rid of? Well, it's our inability to accept a feeling that usually keeps it stuck in place. By saying the setup statement, it sets us up for the rest of the process, helps neutralize any judgment we have around the problem. So you say the setup statement 3 times, then you tap on the rest of the acupressure points while simply saying how you feel. It's not about the fancy language, it's about being honest with how you're feeling, bringing that up in your body and tapping on that acupressure, on these acupressure points. Again, sending that calming signal to the brain, letting your brain know that even with this thought, you are safe and it's okay to relax. So let me give you an example of what one tapping round may look like. If you are stressed around, say, a deadline, you would tap and say, even though I feel so stressed around this deadline, I love and accept myself. Even though I feel stressed around this deadline, I accept myself. Even though I feel stress around this deadline, I love and accept myself. Whatever variation of the setup statement you'd like to use is perfect. Then we're going to tap on the rest of the points just while we vent. So it would go something like this. The stress around this deadline. Side of the eye, I have too much to do. Under the eye, it's too much for one person. Under the nose, all this pressure that I feel. Chin, this pressure I feel to do it perfectly. Collarbone, this pressure around this deadline. Under the arm, all this pressure around this deadline. Top of the head, all of this pressure. It's as simple as trusting your intuition and really just giving a voice to the tape you're already playing in your head. You might already be having that panicked conversation. Now have that conversation with yourself while stimulating the points to really see a difference. You'll get to the point where you can say these things, you can think these thoughts without having the tension, the physical response. And that is where the real change happens. Well, I hope that is enough to help you get started. Continue reading here to get more information, and welcome to the Tapping Solution.
So that's just one example of different ideas to help yourself with self-care. And I have had some of the caregivers that I've supported say they actually would go in their private space and do that. And it really helped them work through the stress or the anticipated stress of the day to get them started in their day. So this is another technique called anchoring heart technique, and it's training your brain basically to learn to let those emotional pain out and to, again, like I said, recognize it. If there's a trigger, process it. But it's basically just anchoring your heart. So anchoring your hands or both hands firmly and tenderly on your heart, and just do some deep breathing. So sometimes it's just like, okay, I need to slow myself down. I need to take the breath. Feel what you're not wanting to feel, and don't like just bury it. Like don't put it away, because you do need to feel that. You need to let it out. So doing that for a few seconds, sometimes just will help ground you and take that stress away in that moment. So be curious about the place inside that is strong enough to hold your pain without that fear. So the anchoring your heart technique, sometimes you might see people just go like this. Like I find I do that plus the tapping. I don't do all the tapping, but I will sometimes do this. And that just helps let me and let my body know that, okay, I need to slow myself down. So it's a reminder to myself. Nobody in the room would know what I'm doing. Nobody would know that maybe I'm having a panic attack or I'm feeling a little bit anxious, but I'm just anchoring my heart. So that's another technique people can do in the moment. So talking about all those self-care things, and like I said, there is a ton of stuff on this white table. Take anything you need. Take all of it, take whatever you need. There is a caregiver stress test in there to let you know kind of, hey, I'm not so bad. I think I'm feeling good. You could do that test again in a month and it would be totally different, but just in the moment, do what you need to do to help support yourself with self-care. So the C part of the ABCs is that connections. So feeling connected can be very healing. So this coming here is connecting. You're connecting to other people. Oh, I think I'm falling apart here. You're connecting to other people who either are caregivers or want to care for themselves and want to find some self-care. So, you know, hey, everybody give each other, everybody's phone number here so we can all get together and connect with each other. But looking for support groups or seeking support groups. So there are some caregiver groups. Rockwood has music therapy there. Our lovely Catherine Manning is there to do music therapy the first Monday of every month. So we do have some wellness services for caregivers at Hospice Wellington. Taking time to connect with friends and family is another way to connect. Arranging a weekly schedule with friends or family so that you get that consistent break. And then talking about your feelings. Sometimes you might need to seek more of a counselor or a professional or a therapist, and that's okay too. Sometimes people don't want to talk to family members because they feel that they would be burdening them and they don't want to put that on them. So sometimes it's good to have that. We do offer at Hospice support through wonderful volunteers that aren't therapists or counselors, but they're companions and they're there to listen. So we talk about self-care not being selfish, because some people think, well, no, I don't want to do that for myself, or that's too selfish. It's not selfish, it's healthy, and it's important, and it's necessary. So some of the supports for caregivers through hospice, I just listed them here. Like we do have all these wonderful workshops that we're doing and that I'm doing here today for you. We have one-on-one volunteer supports, but we also have all of our wellness supports. So that includes art therapy, music therapy, gentle yoga, Reiki, therapeutic touch, and we actually now just got massage back in. So every Thursday we have a massage therapist there. So those are all things we offer on the community level and in the community. So that is all I'm going to talk to you about today, so that you can go start having some self-care in that kitchen with all those lovely cookies and stuff that's all in there. But thank you very much. I have my information here. There are my cards here because I am the outreach. You can call me anytime if you have questions. But I'm happy to answer any questions that anybody online has or anybody here has. And if not, we'll get to the coffee and cookies. Any questions?
Well, people are thinking of the questions. The question that I have is a little beyond what you talked about today, but we see people going into hospice, and when they go from the hospital, we assume that's easy. The hospital knows when they need hospice. What if somebody's in their home? How do you access hospice for somebody you're caring for?
Yeah, well, Ontario Health at Home, which AKA the LIN, AKA CCAC, or there was a just before that, Health at Home. So Ontario Health at Home now, your case coordinator works with the palliative team. So if you are needing end-of-life support, so hospice residents, to come there you have to be in the last 3 months. Your prognosis is the last 3 months of life. So they would do the referral process. So they would say, if your family says, hey, I'm ready, I want to go to hospice now, they would do the referral process and get you the referral into hospice, and then depending on if we have any open beds, they would come. So, and that works out too, that if you are at home versus in the hospital, hospice does, we look at each case. And so if you're in home, and you're needing that support and your family maybe is in burnout, and so we may say, okay, well we'll take the person from home first before we take somebody in the hospital. Because we do try to look at, and it's case by case, and sometimes it works the other way around, but that is how you do it in the community. It's through Ontario Health at Home. They have to put the referral in.
And is there hospice care that comes into the home as opposed to somebody going to the resident bed? Like I know when my aunt died, she had a round-the-clock nurse at one.
Yeah, and that's through Ontario Health at Home. So I always tell people, the Ontario Health at Home, they provide the physical care. So the nurses, the PSWs, any like assistive devices or physiotherapy that you might need in the home, that's what they take care of. Hospice, we do the psychological, social, and spiritual. So we're the heart, the mind, and the soul. So we help with that emotional support for you. So again, with having somebody to talk to, with the wellness supports that we offer, and things like that. So that goes hand in hand with the physical part.
Other questions folks have?
See, I got them thinking about the cookies. Anything online, Lisa?
Just people appreciating what you shared, and especially the tapping techniques. Someone said that they use them in their practice.
Oh, good. Well, that's awesome. Thank you very much for joining us online as well.
Well, I just want to say, so much of what you said today resonated. And I know a lot of the people in this room, and I would hazard a guess that they are mostly the people who like to care for others as opposed to the accepting help for themselves sort of folks. So I think that your message that it's okay to let other people help is a really good one for this crowd. And I love all of the different strategies that you provided, and the fact that it's okay to recognize that it's not one size fits all, but try them all and hopefully something sticks. So thank you for your time. Thank you for all of your resources. We have a gift basket here for you, and everything in it is from people in the congregation.
Oh,
It's
that's so wonderful. I
homegrown.
didn't have to do that, but thank you very much.